Her name is Solange Tremblay. She's a flight attendant for Air Canada. She was still found strapped to her seat 30 feet from the wreckage, on the tarmac. And two of her colleagues, they didn't make it. And the investigator sent out to find out why these pilots are dead was held up at airport security, just like thousands of other US citizens. This is the chaos in the United States that has become normal. And in this video, I'm not going to talk about the crash. I'm going to talk about who's actually responsible for all of this. And in my opinion, it's not the air traffic controller. But in this video, I have 3 videos to share with everyone. The first one is going to share firsthand experience of what it was like to be on that plane. The second video now shows that passengers are sleeping at the airport now. And third, ICE has arrived. But what the hell are they actually doing? So we'll get into all of this in this video. And let's start off with a video from CBC that talks to the people who were on the plane.
The mangled nose of the jet, testament to the sheer force of the collision.
We went down for a regular landing. We came in pretty hard. We immediately hit something and it was just chaos from there.
The 2 pilots, Antoine Forêt and Mackenzie Gunther, killed. More than 40 other passengers and crew sent to hospital. Air traffic control recordings reveal those chaotic moments before the crash. A fire truck was dispatched to check out a problem on another plane. A strange odor reported on a United Airlines flight. Following procedure, it requested permission to cross runway 4.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company crossing 4 at Delta.
But at the same moment, the Air Canada plane was landing. Air traffic control tried to claw back the fire truck's permission.
Stop, Truck 1, stop. Stop, Truck 1, stop. Stop, Truck 1, stop.
But the truck veered into the path of the jet. Not long after, 3 haunting words.
I messed up.
Now, a lot of people are going to take this as face value and blame the ATC controller for the crash. Technically, he is. I mean, he was the one that gave the order for the fire truck to cross the runway. But I was watching a few videos that showed that he was actually doing ground control as well as tower control, essentially doing the job of 2 people. Now, I'm sure there's going to be more information coming out on this. But one thing that we do know that there's always been a staff shortage when it comes to ATC. And my gut feeling is telling me that this guy who made the mistake might have been overworked. I mean, this is not the first time there's been an incident in the United States. I think many of us remember the helicopter incident in Washington, D.C. I'm just really wondering who they're going to be blaming for this.
I want to extend my sympathies to the families of the 2 pilots. These were 2 young men at the start of their careers.
Canadian and American investigators now tasked with answering how this happened. Already, concerns raised about whether there was enough staff in the air traffic control tower.
I understand there are a lot of questions. I've heard them on air traffic control. I've heard questions on the tower. I've heard questions on air traffic control communications.
Incredibly, the firefighters escaped this twisted mess of metal. One released from hospital already, one being held overnight for observation. A flight attendant thrown to the tarmac, still strapped to her chair, found alive. A miracle, her daughter said. And then there are the passengers who stepped up to get one another to safety.
And I pick up the phone and it's my husband, Chris, who says, "I'm okay. I was just on a plane crash."
Sarah Dorner's husband, Christopher Powell, slid down the wing and got nearly 20 others to do the same.
He was encouraging people to come, to move along, and he said, "Slide down, I'll catch you." So he was there to help people off the wing of the plane.
Now, I really have to apologize for this, but somebody's doing some drilling in my building, and you can hear concrete being drilled right now. Well, at least I can. So hopefully it's not too distracting for everyone. But I do have to say that the flight attendant who was ejected, still attached to her seat, it is a miracle that she is still alive. But her husband, the one who helped to get 20 people out of the plane, he is a true hero in my opinion.
Plane crashes are rare, and here they are very rare. It's been more than 34 years since LaGuardia has had a fatal crash.
Yeah, this is terrible. And Katie, you cannot divorce it from the moment it happened and when aviation is under so much scrutiny in the States.
Yeah, this is coming as the public their faith in aviation is being tested. There have been other crashes and near misses. And of course, there is the partial government shutdown affecting airport security. It's so bad that the key investigator for air traffic control, who was supposed to come here, was stuck in the line in Houston for hours. And the NTSB had to try to make calls to get her here.
Okay, so you know you have a problem when the investigator can't even get to the scene. But yet, Kristi Noem was able to fly around on this thing. I mean, you would think that an investigator would be able to get some sort of preferential treatment to get to the scene as soon as possible. But what I'm starting to think now is that even if this investigation happens, are the right people going to be blamed for this? Now, I want to move on to the part where they actually talk to the passengers and they give their story on what actually happened.
We didn't have any directions because the pilot's cabin had been kind of destroyed, so somebody said, let's get the emergency exit and get the door in, let's all jump out, and that's exactly what we did.
Passenger Jack Cabot shared this footage shot just moments later.
We all kind of just had this real moment of grappling of, wow, we just survived this, and oh my God, this is much worse than we thought.
Stop, truck one, stop. Stop, truck one, stop. Stop, truck one, stop.
The cockpit was sheared right off in the crash. Both pilots were killed instantly, but passengers say they did all they could.
The plane jolted, and you heard the pilot try to brake like he was trying to prevent the collision.
This expert calls the scenario unprecedented.
Certainly, the flight crew, once they touched down on the runway, not expecting to see a fire truck, on the runway, that was would have given them little time, if any, opportunity to execute a go-around.
Many on board remain in hospital, including one flight attendant whose daughter spoke to Quebec broadcaster TVA, calling her survival a miracle. She was ejected more than 100 meters from the plane, she said. They found her still attached to the seat. I'm still trying to understand how all of this happened, but she really had a guardian angel watching over her. As investigators begin to piece together how this happened, those who walked away say they are still in a state of shock and realize how lucky they are to have survived.
I don't want to go into fear-mongering or anything, but there's definitely changes when it comes to U.S. aviation right now. For me, when I travel, I want to make sure I get to my destination safely. And I trust that the government and safety boards have all the right measures in place. But for me, the trust just isn't there anymore. I mean, when I say trust, I mean it's like stepping on a plane. It's always going to be in the back of my mind. Do they have enough ATC controllers up there? Did the safety checks go through properly? Did the security checks at the terminal do a proper job? Or are the staff that are responsible for our lives, are they overworked? Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually don't blame the ATC controller. Because there are clues coming out now that he was doing more than one job, basically the work for two people. And if an ATC controller is in that situation, who's actually responsible? The people above him. More specifically, this guy standing beside the orange guy. Now, it's well known that the ATC workers, they're overworked, understaffed, and I don't know, maybe underpaid, I don't know. But I'm not confident that whatever report that comes out of this guy, for the reasonings of the crash, is going to have the full details. Because anybody that is tied to this guy sitting down, I think we're pretty used to not believing anything that comes out of their mouth. Now, before I move on to the next aviation mess in the United States, I would like to give a shout out to YUL Spotter. He reached out to me on Discord and sent me a photo of the CRJ that was involved. And he took this photo at the Montreal airport in 2019. I want to thank you for sending it to me. And I know this story hits home for a lot of us, because it does involve a Canadian airline. But I do hope we get justice for the two pilots that passed away, and the people above who are responsible get what they deserve. Now, moving on to the next chaotic part when it comes to US aviation. People are now sleeping in the airports, just to be able to make their flight. Let's take a look.
Thank you, Chris. Well, overnight at Armstrong Airport, some travelers slept in the TSA security line to avoid another day of missed flights. This video taken around midnight shows an already growing line of people waiting with their luggage. Some passengers told our crew they had been there for hours. All that said, you want to give yourself extra time if you have a flight today.
Maddie Kurth joins us in studio with an update from airport officials. Hey, Maddie.
Kelsey and Rob, good morning. So those overnight flyers are trying to avoid this. Fox 8 was live at the airport all morning yesterday as those general security queues stretched into the parking garage during those peak travel times. So the airport officials say that the partial government shutdown, now in week 6, is to blame for this. Some travelers followed officials' advice and they arrived 3 hours early yesterday, only to still miss their flights.
Now, I've been through my fair share of airports in my life, and that does not look like a 3-hour lineup. That looks more like a 4 or 5, even more. But I can't speak for the domestic tourists. I mean, they're within their own country. You know, they got to go. But for people who have a choice, how many more weeks of this is it going to take for you to kind of realize that, hey, you know what? I might be stuck in this mess? Because for those who are still choosing to go to the United States, I don't know about you, but I would rather spend my time on vacation and not in line. The first shutdown is a little bit different than this one. It doesn't seem like the orange guy and his administration want to resolve this anytime soon. Because instead of funding TSA, he decided to bring in ICE instead. I'll talk about that one later.
TSA agents are working without pay as lawmakers battle on Capitol Hill over immigration and border patrol policies. That fight started after federal agents shot and killed 2 American citizens protesting immigration enforcement in Minneapolis. Now, over the weekend, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer pushed a measure to fund the TSA separately, but Republicans blocked it 49-41. Frustration is growing at the terminal, and so are the lines.
If you're not getting paid, why would you show up to work? So, I think just have sympathy. It's not the TSA people's fault.
Who do you consider at fault for this?
The government, for sure.
We have to be mindful in what we can provide to ensure we don't violate any FAA regs or anything of that nature with revenue diversion and so forth. But we feel there's a number of different things that we can do to help.
Border Czar Tom Homan confirms that ICE agents are deployed this morning to airports across the country to help TSA. I've reached out to our local Homeland Security and airport officials to see if New Orleans is on that list, but I'm still waiting to hear back.
Now, it couldn't be more obvious that things are not going to improve anytime soon. Sure, spring break's going to be over pretty soon and there might be less volume. And the lines, maybe they're not 3 or 4 hours anymore. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 hours. But regardless of that, there's still going to be problems, and it doesn't look like this administration is going to be fixing them anytime soon. But everybody's in for another surprise. ICE agents have officially moved into the U.S. airports. Let's take a look.
Atlanta News First reporter Mary Kate Hamilton has been there all morning and all day long. And Mary Kate, certainly different to see those armed officers there this morning.
That's right, Brooks, and that really has been the biggest difference this morning. The lines still remained long. However, ICE agents, Homeland Security investigations officers, the Atlanta SWAT team, Atlanta police officers, and of course, airport security, all a big force here this morning.
Holy crap, how much more law enforcement do you need at the airport? I mean, the only thing missing right now is the National Guard. Oh, I guess I spoke too soon, because it looks like the National Guard is going to be next, if ICE is not enough. But I can't imagine going to the United States anymore, because if I get off that plane and I'm starting to see all these law enforcement, it's not a welcoming place to go to.
And I spent the morning talking with travelers about the long wait times and the added law enforcement. ICE agents and Homeland Security investigations officers arrived to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport this morning. The Department of Homeland Security finalized a plan overnight to deploy them to airports nationwide, aimed at supporting TSA operations during the shutdown and easing security backups. But at ATL today, travelers say they're not seeing an impact.
But they're here, they're not helping. But I didn't expect them to either. What was their job? They can't do anything to help people through. They're not trained in it.
I don't think anybody expected them to do anything there. They're just there for a presence. And let's be real, some of these ICE agents couldn't pass an open book test, or they can barely read and write. So I would not want them on the security checks anyways. So what are they actually there for?
Lines stretched outside the terminal, some waiting more than an hour just to get inside. Airport officials advise travelers to arrive at least 4 hours before departure. Airport workers now on the 4th day of mass security backups are feeling the burden.
There's a lot of chaos in here. I can't maneuver through this. I don't know what to do.
When ICE come, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Hope there's no chaos.
Traveler Amy Schwartz worries the added law enforcement presence could raise tensions.
TSA workers need the help, but ICE isn't the answer. I think just the mass of people, I think there's just always tension already, and to turn around and throw ICE in it when everything's happening around the, our states and everything, I think just bad energy, honestly.
And frustration continues to build, with some travelers calling on the government to reopen as the partial federal government shutdown stretches into its 37th day.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. You just need Congress to get up, and do their jobs, but they've never really done their jobs the past number of years, so I don't expect it to improve.
Well, this guy tells it like it is. But unfortunately, I've seen many reports where the people waiting in line are actually happy to see ICE there. And for what purpose? What are they actually doing? Well, I'll tell you one thing that they're doing right now. They're running away from the press and the photographers. Let's take a look at this video from Harry Sisson.
ICE agents have been caught on camera running away from journalists after Donald Trump deployed them in different airports around the country. Just take a look.
Did you film that?
Well, isn't that something? Once they're not wearing a mask, they really don't want to be seen by people. They are running away into the bathrooms to hide from these videographers, these journalists who are taking photos of them. I mean, they sign up for Donald Trump's personal police force, they hurt communities, rip apart families, and then when they're in public, they don't expect people to want to document them in our airports? It's absurd. But so far, Donald Trump's ICE airport plan has been a complete and total disaster. I mean, really nothing has changed for the better.
But one good thing about it is that these ICE agents are not masked, so we can identify them. They don't seem too tough anymore without the mask on, right? I don't know, I'm at that point right now where I don't know what to say anymore. But hey, at least we're on the outside. And we have a choice to not go into the chaos on the other side of the fence. Now, to the US citizens that are watching my video right now, I'm sorry, but that might have hurt to hear. But unfortunately, there's nobody on this side of the fence that can help. The people that can actually help the situation are actually on your side of the fence. I'm talking about the US citizens who are way too apathetic about what's going on right now, or in their bubble, and basically saying that as long as it doesn't affect me, it doesn't matter. Because if you get those people on your side, the small resistance group becomes a lot bigger, and maybe only then there will be some change. If you found any value or agree with anything I said in this video, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that'll show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.